During the winter months, a military conference for the Central Powers was held in České Budějovice in Bohemia. By train from the south came the Ottoman generals and commanders. From across the Austro-Hungarian Empire came Croat generals, Austrian, Hungarian, Czech, all gathering in České Budějovice, and from all the culture groups of German states, from Bavaria, from Württemberg, from Hanover, from Silesia, all the rest, generals came to be present at the military conference. Now, in that conference, it was discussed how to conduct ourselves during the course of the war and the problem of a two-front war. We're faced in the West by the French, the British, the Italians, and now possibly the Americans as well. And then in the East, we're faced with the Russian and the British Indian Army coming in from India. And this is a difficult problem to overcome for the Central Powers. And so it was decided in this conference to focus on one enemy at a time, or at least one theater at a time. And so with that in mind, a series of operational plans were written up, and so we've seen the success of the first portion of that plan in Operation Ruprecht, a plan to attack the Russian army in Romania. The Austrians conducted it quite successfully, defeating and eliminating the entirety of the Russian forces present there. And now it is time for Operation Hindenburg, an attack into Poland, an attritional battle, a series of attritional offensives against the Polish forces, or against the Russian forces in Poland, in hopes to reduce the amount of enemy faced along that entire theater. And then later on we might see the Ottoman operational plan of Mustafa Kemal to see what that is all about as well. This is a difficult time for the German Empire, because in the West we're faced with a series of enemy forces. We see plenty of French forces and infantry divisions spread out across the entire border. We see massive amounts of British forces ready to be dropped off anywhere along our coastline, and a massive fleet as well. And this is quite the problem for the Germans to overcome, as they find themselves quite weak in all fronts. And then lastly, we see over here a massive American force has been built up, ready to go across the Atlantic as well, and put a lot of damage against us in Europe as well. And despite all that, the German Kaiser demands that his fleet must survive, that the German fleet, the pride of the German Kaiser, must survive. And so therefore, we have to do something in that regards. He demands that new hulls for battleships be put down so as to put up a more serious challenge to our enemy. And with that in mind, the Germans will be building 2 battleships. Welcome all to Axis and Allies 1914. We are playing Operation Schlieffen, and we're having a lot of fun doing it. I hope you guys like it as well. And I know these intros are a little bit sometimes almost as long as the actual video itself, but hey, I enjoy making them, so I hope you guys do too. So we have 42 IPC to spend as Germany, and with that in mind, we're going to get 6 infantry and put down the 2 battleships. Now, I should also state too that it was pointed out by the veteran in the rules that that battleships don't get to bombard into contested territory. I guess everything's too tangled up. So when the Italians dropped off forces here in Egypt, so the Egyptians, so that Ottoman unit still survives and doesn't get taken off the board. So by my calculations, I might be wrong, but I believe I might be at 28 IPCs there for the Brits. So just jumping over here to change some of my stuff here, and we'll see if that's correct or not. Okay, moving on to our non-combat stuff, starting off in Africa. We're going to move from Cameroon, 1 unit to Belgian Congo, and 1 German unit to German East Africa. And hopefully this way it protects our entire southern part of the continent. Maybe, maybe not. We'll have to see how that pans out. And then we're looking here at the Western Theater to see what we can do here. So, unfortunately, the Germans must give up the defense of Switzerland, and so therefore we're sending in 5 infantry, and 2 artillery are coming up to Alsace, leaving 1 infantry behind. It's going to be joined by 2 fighters coming into this territory as well. 1, 2, yeah. Now from Belgium, we'll have to give up on that territory as it's too difficult to hold on to it with massive amount of French forces bearing down on us, plus the British as well, to follow any French attack up and completely wipe out our forces. So we have to give up on Belgium. Now we're going to move 3 infantry south to the Ruhr. 6 infantry is going to come across to Holland. Actually, this guy is going to come to Hanover, and instead of 3 infantry, just 2 are going to go down, and that fighter will stay there. From Berlin, we're sending in 5 infantry and 2 artillery to Kiel, and then we're boarding 4 infantry onto these naval transports who are coming over to Sea Zone 12, and subsequently we intend on dropping them off in St. Petersburg. And lastly, over here we have there we have our conference. But here we have 5 infantry, and they're going to march across to Poland in an attempt to capture, or at least to do some damage against the enemy in some sort of attritional battle. And that is it for all of our combat moves, all of our moves across the map. Hopefully some of them are successful. So let's roll for our naval transports. We have 2 dice here, and we're hoping we don't get anyone. And we barely passed. Now I want to quickly double check on mines. I think it is a 1. I think we've all been playing a 1, but you know how sometimes you're absolutely certain of something until something else comes through. Rolls 1 die. 1 dice roll. A roll of 1 means, yeah, okay, all right. So we survive. So our units will, all 4 of them, drop off in Karelia, capturing that territory from the enemy and putting down a token on the map. So that bumps our income up. I know we're all off camera, but it bumps our income up by 2, meaning that we're at 43 if memory serves. All right. So as you see over there, I just put them down. Great. And now we're looking at Poland itself. Now I've laid out all these dice, and it's going to be quite the hectic battle. I don't know. This can go any which way. So I'm going to roll for the 2 German fighters, because there's first going to be air war here. 2 German fighters with successes on 1s or 2s. 1 hit. All right. And now the enemy. Really, whoever the victor of the air war will win this whole thing. Sorry, I guess I was off camera for that one. I hope it showed up, but there was one hit by the Germans. I hope that's on camera. Ooh, shoot. Okay, well, yeah. I trust that it made it on camera. I didn't realize that I'd shifted it off. Okay, but just in case, maybe I should re-roll it. If it wasn't on camera, now if it does show up on camera, we're good, and if it doesn't, then we have to redo. Yeah, so that's my second attempt at that, right? So I'm going to stick with the first attempt if it shows up on camera, otherwise not. Okay, so here's the second round of combat. Now this is where it gets tricky. 2 German fighters. Okay, in case you don't see, that's 1 hit right there. And as for the Russians, now I'm going to roll 1. This is the one that would potentially survive. 2, so success. And in case the other one didn't show up, 5. So again, I'm not sure exactly what this looks like right now. I'm going to assume it's on a 1-to-1 basis. So I'm going to just roll 1 dice for the Germans and 1 dice for the Russians, if it kind of makes sense here. Miss for the Germans, and now the Russians. 4. Okay. Now the Germans again. Miss. And the Russians. 2. Success. So again, depending on if it shows up or not, then that could really impact the battlefield. In light of that, because it's so impactful, I'm going to just pause here and review. Okay, so I just had a quick review of what it looked like on the fighting for the fighters, and again, my apologies. So on the first round, the Germans scored 1 hit, and the Russians scored nothing. So that means that there's going to be 1 fighter left on the second round. So rolling again for the Germans on the second round, we scored our second hit, and the Russians scored 1 hit on the second round. So by my calculations, we should have 1 German aircraft left over. All right, so let's go into this stuff proper. So we're going to shift all these guys up to stage 4. Now, if you see anything wrong with the way I did it, just let me know. Okay, I'm going to roll for these all at 4 now. So that's 9 artillery dice at 4. But one of them fell off. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I'm going to roll this one extra. Miss. Okay, so you know what? It was a little below average, but there's 5. And now we roll for the infantry at 3. This looks pretty bad. Below average, okay, below average. I think if memory serves, we were supposed to hit somewhere at the 12 units or so, if that's the average. Here should be about 3 or 4 hits. 1, 2, 3 hits. All right, and then lastly, we have our sole fighter over here. Oh, my kids are back and my fighter hits. So we have a total hit of 13 hits. Yeah, 13 hits. Now for the enemy, this is going to be very, very painful. So let's see. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oops, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4.5. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 hits total. So we'll see if they're succeeding in that. Shoot, I think I just bumped some stuff. 5, yeah, that's right. Okay, 12 hits total. So I'm going to roll all of them all at once because there's something fun about rolling a whole mitt full of dice. Unless you drop them all. Okay. I'll have to double check these afterwards. I didn't make a mess. I see a whole lot of 2s. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, there's 11. Now let's count how many units there was supposed to be, because I dropped a couple dice, so I want to make sure I'm all good here. Okay, so in total we have that's 10, 20, and this brings up to 24. 24, and let me just count how many units he had on the table. So he had 16, that's 20, 23, yeah, so one more dice here. And it's a miss. All right. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so that's, 14. 7, 18, 19, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. 25. Yeah, that works out exactly to what we have. So the amount of hits he scored is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And we scored 5, 10, 13. So about where we expected. So I'm going to take off my 11 units here. I don't know if you guys can see the camera. 11 units. So here is 5. Another 5 and a 1. 11. And we also take off 1 fighter. Now for the opponents, we take off 2 fighters. And we have to take off 13 of theirs. So that's those ones. That makes 15. 15, and then we return 2 things back here. Oops, wrong color. And where'd that Russian guy go? There he is. Let me just change these chips over here. All right, so a nutritional battle. We're quite weak in there, but with any luck, we can take some more damage off them in the subsequent rounds. All right, I believe that'll do it. So we'll just place our units on the board now. Okay, so in Berlin, we're placing our 6 infantry, and our 2 battleships are coming up to the sea zone here. Now, will the French go for it? Will they attempt to attack our ships with their 2 cruiser, 1 cruiser and 2 battleships against our 3 battleships and our minefield? We'll have to see. We'll have to see indeed. Okay, let me just quickly double check our income. So we have 35. To start with, we are minus 1 for here, so 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43. Yeah, 43 is what we have here, if that is right. I have a feeling it's not, but maybe it is. Okay, 43 bucks. All right, so we'll collect our money, and that concludes our turn. So thank you all for watching. I enjoyed it. I hope you did too. Cheers.